Welcome back. This is a quick overview of the tilt and MIDI messages. Now this applies to any wind controller for the most part. So like all MIDI wind controllers, the tilt can control a connected synthesizer by sending a stream of MIDI messages. For this segment, I'd like to be able for you to actually see those messages. Now, skip this video if you already know how it all works, or if you don't really care, but we think it's cool. So I'm showing you here a product called MIDI Monitor. It's a free app from Snoize. That's S-N-O-I-Z-E. And it allows you to monitor incoming MIDI messages from a variety of sources, but in this case, it's coming through the USB port. MIDI wind controllers all send at least the following messages. They send note on and note off, and I'll play those first. I'm filtering this. I've got two sources here. One is the USB connection and the other is the Bluetooth connection, but I'll just use the USB connection. And I'm only showing the note on and note off messages, and I'll play a single note. And you can see that I got a note on message, then a note off. And if I played longer, I still get those same messages, just spread out more in time, and you could play a note forever. In fact, that's what it'll sound like if there ever is a stuck note, that is a note on that doesn't receive a following note off. The note volume can range from 1 to 27. You'll see that with the tilt, it always sends 127 and adjusts its volume through what are called expression messages, which we'll discuss in a minute. Now let's talk about the second item that pretty much all wind controllers will send, and that's pitch bend. Now, pitch bend in many synthesizers is 2 semitones. That's kind of the default value on many synthesizers. You can set that range on most synthesizers up to a couple of octaves. These are often sent every couple of milliseconds. Now let's clear that, and I'll send some pitch bend messages. So that's using the glide function on the tilt. And here's vibrato. You can see that it's just gently oscillating between some small numbers to give you that vibrato feel. Now the next type of message that wind controllers send, and pretty much all of them do, are expression messages. Now these are a type of continuous controller messages, and let me talk a bit about those. By sending a continuous controller message, the controller and the synthesizer agree on a particular set of values to use to change some setting. There are some standardized values, which I'll talk about here, and some customizable ones where the controller and the synth can agree to do something special. There are two that are commonly used for expression. CC2 is called breath pressure, and it's used by most software synthesizers off the shelf. CC11 is the expression controller by default, and it is what General MIDI defines as the controller to use for sending expression. The tilt will allow sending both of these or either of these, and you can set that up. It sends both by default, so you can have the most plug-and-play experience. I'm going to show you here how that's done in MIDI Monitor. I'll pick on control settings, and watch what happens as I play a soft note. You can see that every few milliseconds I'm sending a controller 2 and a controller 11 with identical settings so that either kind of synth can pay attention to it. I can change the settings in MIDI Monitor to, instead of showing these decimal numbers, I can show the standard name. So those are expression messages, and they're sent fairly often. There are a few other messages that the tilt sends that other controllers may not, and in fact some synthesizers may not know how to pay attention to. It's also possible to change the pitch bend range so that when you change the pitch bend range, let's say from 2 semitones to 24 semitones, the synth may pay attention to it. Some do, like Apple's Logic and GarageBand. and the internal synth on the tilt. And my piano does that as well. Generally, general MIDI synths will respond to pitch bend range changes. The last one I want to mention is all notes off. And you've seen this represented perhaps on synthesizers as a panic button or an all off button. Occasionally, particularly with wireless MIDI connection, it's possible that a note on can occur and the note off is lost. So the note plays forever. There's a strategy for that in MIDI called send all notes off. This is a particular kind of controller that's agreed upon between controllers and synthesizers to turn everything off. So with the tilt, we thought the most intuitive thing to do was to suck back in. So if you're playing a note, you blow forward. If you want to turn all notes off, you suck back. And that sends a note off on all the channels. All 16 channels will get a note off message and turn off any stuck note. So that's a brief summary of MIDI messages and wind controllers and some that are particular to the tilt. You can find out much more on MIDI.org, or there are lots of resources on the internet. Just search for MIDI messages. Thanks for listening. See you again.